because I'm a big, strong man. And if that little mofo steps to me, I'm going to go ahead and squash him like a bug. I know I can take it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Soap Lore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jed. I'm viewing and reviewing the soapiest, sudziest primetime storylines of 1981. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell Paige no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, you need to be cool, quiet, or kicked out because we are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Lore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. I hope you are having the most fantastic day ever. I hope I am too, because if I calculated this just right, this is on or right before my birthday. I have something very special planned for you guys too. Stay tuned for a very fun bonus episode. I need you to listen. Let that be your gift to me. Listen to the next episode. I promise you. You're either going to subscribe or you're going to unsubscribe. One way or the other. Either way, we're going to have a good time regardless. But today we're going to have a serious time. Today, I was completely blindsided. So go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright, maybe something a little stronger than usual, as we jump into season 4 lies. Not at all. What am I doing? This is Knots Landing. So we're on the West Coast. Baby, they really are doing the absolute most. I am very concerned with the property value in this neighborhood at this point, because after this little stunt pull tonight, I don't know what to do. Season 3, episode 19 of Knots Landing, Night. The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. The freaks also stay home at night. Sometimes regular people become freaks in the middle of the day. I don't think this is a situation of any sort of freakdom. I think this is a perfect storm, and this is a recipe for, gosh, I don't even know. I got to tell you what, Knots Landing, I have waxed poetic about this show time and time again. I don't see that stopping anytime soon, but I've noticed probably the last 3 or 4, maybe a little more episodes, it's getting harder and harder to come to a definite conclusion, which I love because that is real life. There's so much nuance to everything. And this situation feels like the clues should have been there, but nobody was really paying attention. Or, you know what? Let's just get into it. When last we left, our good friend Richard and our girl Vidalia the Onion Queen was going through it. Richard standing up for himself, saying, hey, I'm not trying to book hookers. I'm trying to win court cases. I want to do my job, which is a noble endeavor, should always be celebrated. Unfortunately, that ended up in disaster. Richard was fired and basically had his business put all out in the street. This is the part of that last episode that kind of irritated me. I thought about it later. So the expose happens. Marnie is behind a silk screen. We don't know who she is. We don't really know who the person, the Joe or the John or whatever they call him, who that is while it's on the news. It's just put out in the greater Los Angeles area. Unless it was picked up nationally, nobody knows who these people are. When his firm, who was identified on the tape, who was identified on television, put out their message, they named Richard specifically. I really wish he had a little bit more anonymity. Valine, on the other hand, discover that she might be the next Danielle Steele, the next Stephen King, the next R.L. Stein. I don't know. I'm sure that novel's somewhat of a horror. She might be that girl in the literary world. Only the subject matter is so scandalous, so intense that her husband says, listen, baby, make sure that never sees the light of day, and I'll do anything your precious little onion loving heart desires. She's like, cool. Stop spending so much time with that lady who don't mind if a husband has a wife or not. Could you not hang out with the girl we know sleeps around? Could you not do that, please? He's like, sure. Only to 14 and a half seconds later be like, no, 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 we got business to do. And it's at night. She's like, okay, bet. Guess what? I'm signing this book deal. Now I'm going to celebrate. I didn't really expect this episode to be about that, but I definitely, there's no realm of my imagination did I think this episode was about what it is about. So let's start from the top. So at the top of the show, we see it's night. And Richard is pulling into the driveway, I guess, of his house. We all know he's lonely. He hates night. Even at this, okay, so even with these clues, I didn't really know this episode was going to be about Richard, but he's in the car. He's in the car with Abby. Apparently, they've gone out to dinner. I don't think that's unusual since they're neighbors, they're single, but she makes a comment from the car. We can't actually see inside the car, we just hear their voices. We see the car pull into one place. She goes, oh, isn't this the wrong house? He reverses and pulls into another. I don't think Abby has a driveway, though. We'll get to that at the end of the episode. So they go into Abby's house, and it's very clear she's kind of tired, but she's not necessarily tired of him. She's just exhausted, thinking, okay, we went out to eat. Let's go on and get this over with. But he's like, oh, can I have a drink? Give me a drink, and I promise I'll leave. Okay, dance with me, and I promise I'll leave. Well, as they start dancing, she keeps saying, Richard, I'm really tired. Let's just wrap this up. He starts to try to neck her. She's like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, what do you think I'm doing? What do you think this is all about? She says, I thought we had dinner. That's what I thought this was about. He's like, you think I'd spend $100+ for dinner? I kind of laughed when he said that because I'm like, obviously everybody knows if Abby goes to a restaurant, she gonna eat like she's not ashamed. She eats like a 300-pound woman, despite being a little wisp of a thing. But he thought he spent all this money for a good time. And she was like, well, if you want a good time, why don't you call them hookers? I don't even think that's a low blow. Normally I would say that is, but it's not. It's accurate. And not a bad idea if that's what he was looking for. He gets mad, like, I can't believe you think I'd spend this much money on you. Also accurate. So maybe the pot calling the kettle black got their feelings hurt, but I'm Team Abby on this. Homie, I thought we was having dinner. I didn't know this was. I'd eat with different people all the time. Well, he starts getting aggressive, and when I tell you, Abby Cunningham comes from the Slapaho tribe, like Crystal and them. I don't know where Abby's from. She might be from the Bay Area, from what I heard. I know Judgment, California. I'm not. I watched a lot of Boys in the Hood and stuff like that back in the day, but anybody can be from anywhere. Abby seems like wherever she's from, she learned to slap real good. I mean, ain't no way that was a stage slap. She slapped every taste bud, every molecule of moisture out of Richard's mouth. And he deserved every piece of that palm and all 5 fingers that connected with his face. She did what she had to do, and as he throws her back down, you could tell she was genuinely freaked out, like, okay. I bet Richard's really embarrassed, honestly. He storms out of her house, walks the 50 or so feet to his own front door. The house is dark and the house is a mess. The house looks like someone who has kind of given up a little bit. It's quite messy for him to be the only person, and like all the mess is concentrated downstairs. He must be thinking the same thing. He don't seem like he likes it. He starts to pour himself a drink. I thought he turned on his laptop, and then I remember what year it was. Suddenly the TV is much, much closer. I don't know if he got like a smaller TV or what, but he starts to sort of settle in for yet another night doing things that he already hates doing. And he just kind of looks at himself like, what am I doing with myself? Let me get my life together. He decides he's going to clean out the house on a whim. It ain't like he got to get up and go to work tomorrow. It ain't like he has a warm body waiting for him in bed. So he might as well spend the night being productive. Let me go and get myself together. He works through the night and gets his house spick and span clean. Side note, I feel like even though I'm watching this 40+ years later, I feel like the producers are listening to me because Richard goes into his wallet and he starts looking at pictures. There's a picture of Jason, who is absolutely the cutest freaking child. I don't know who he is. I hope that kid grew up, has a wonderful, happy life, and I hope he has 10 kids that look just like him, just precious, adorable little boy. There's a picture of Jason. There's a picture of Richard and Jason. There's a close up of, I think, Laura that kind of don't look like her to me, but I guess it could be. But that's my point. Richard may or may not have been taking a real picture with Jason. That could just be a little dark headed boy that he has a picture with. But it looks natural. So maybe on TV, if it's a wallet size photo, it's easier to do. But for some reason, when it's a big photo, all they can do is find headshots. It makes it really unnatural. Doesn't matter. Speaking of unnatural, next morning, house is all cleaned up or whatever. Richard's in his car. It looks like he got to keep the coupe that he gave Laura for Christmas. She kept Scooter's car because it's a Benz. And I mean, she is a real estate agent. She needs the image. But Kenny and Ginger are headed to San Francisco. I forgot Ginger was still singing. She's got a singing gig. Tell me why she walks out of the house with baby two names. Kenny is going on and on about, is this turned off? Is this turned on? I'm not buying him as Danny Tanner. I'm just not buying it. But he's going on about that. Ginger gets into the front seat with baby two names, and I can see the car seat in the back seat. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. You could ride all the way to San Francisco holding a baby in the front seat. That is wild. That's neither here nor there. Kenny and Ginger will be gone for the rest of this episode. We won't see them until the closing credits. Richard goes to Jason's karate class. You don't really notice it at first, but eventually you start to hear this woman is clearly not the sensei. I don't know what she's doing. She looks like she's about to go solve a mystery in Britain, or she's about to go talk to her homegirl, Angela Lansbury. They're going to write up some murder. But she seems to be the class mother or whatever. Her kids are getting on her nerves. Her kids are arguing in the background. So maybe she's a parent waiting for her kids' class because there's already kids in class doing their thing. And we sort of see Jason and this woman and Richard in the background having a conversation. The woman says, "Oh, this is Mrs. Avery's day. I didn't know you were coming. I'm only supposed to release Jason to her." Richard's like, "Well, I mean, she must have forgot to tell you. I guess she got her wires crossed. I'm here to get him. Do you want to call her? I'll wait." The first time I saw this, I didn't really think too much of it. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a mix up on days, or maybe he's not respecting a boundary. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I clocked the sweater and I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. I will have an opinion on it here in a minute. But as I'm watching his body language to her, he seems perfectly natural, perfectly normal. Although he seems perfectly natural and perfectly normal, I just kept staring like, what is something about the way he looks is reminding me of something. And I thought he as I stammer through this, I rewound it now to look at it again, and I know exactly what it is because it really shows up later on. He has a frame of somebody who might be able to fight. Hear me out. He's wearing this sort of maybe light kind of gray creamish, I don't know, a light colored sweater, which kind of reminds me of the sweater from Scream. That's maybe that was the body language I was picking up on, but I noticed you might think that he's slouching, like his back seems to be bowed over, but it's that same stance people take when they start to flex. And I even noticed later on, I'm like, dang, Richard kind of has pecs. Like Richard might be built like Bruce Lee under all that. That's what I'm saying. Picture Bruce Lee in a sweater. You'll see the kind of the back muscles. I guess that's what that is as I look at it again. But I was like, he looks different, but maybe stronger, even though his body language is bowed over like he should be in I don't know. Watch it and you'll see what I mean. You'll look at him and be like, okay, yeah, that he kind of has a frame of someone who might be a little stronger. And as the show progresses, I noticed it really big time. I noticed his chest in the kitchen in a scene or two from here. Anyway, he takes Jason from karate class. The woman who's supposed to be watching him is just so distracted because her kids are acting up that she's like, okay, we'll just, take him. Fine. So when we see Richard at his house, he's cleaned up everything. He has an amazing layout. I love it. But he's cleared all the furniture out of the way because he bought the world's most giant train set. Jason is elated. Is this for him? This for me? Yeah, it's for you. It's for us. So he gets on the floor. He turns on the train. The train is quite loud, but the phone rings. And of course, it's Laura. Laura is big pissed because, again, this is 1982. No cell phones. Murder, She Wrote didn't get up and use the Karate Studio's phone to reach her at work. And even if she tried, it is very possible that Laura would have been on her way. I am Team Laura in this scene because I would be so pissed if I drove all the way across town to go pick up my son only to find out his dad snuck in. Didn't I tell you not to show up unannounced? Didn't we have an agreement? Didn't we have a schedule? This is exactly what I'm talking about, Richard. She's furious over the phone, but Richard's like, well, just come over. Just come over. I got some paperwork I want you to look at. He says look at, not sign. She hears sign, probably thinking this is going to put the final nail in the coffin. Absolutely, I'll drive over there, pick up my baby, sign this, and go on about my day. Only it's just not that. So when she comes over, Richard has smooth talked her into into staying by way of delicious treats. This man makes a home cooked meal. He lays out this beautiful quiche. He's got a bucket of champagne in the middle of the table. Again, baby two names is riding around the California coast, loose leaf, not in her car seat. And Richard and his pregnant, soon to be ex wife are enjoying glasses of champagne because, babies are not important. Millennials, I know this is hard to look at, but no one cared. Maybe that's why we act up the way we do now. Do y'all remember college power hours? Let's move on. Anyway, Richard talks about how much he loves cooking. I don't think he cooked a lot when she was there. I remember Lord making lamb and all that kind of stuff. But he goes to the oven, I think, a la Carrie Bradshaw, pulls out a huge box, and he has this gorgeous fur coat inside. Lord, do you like it? Now, all of a sudden, this quiche tastes a little weird. The champagne seems a little flat. Richard, why do I have a gift? He's like, because I want you to, baby, come on, please, please, please. I'm ready to do things your way. We can have our relationship completely on your terms. And she goes, cool, my terms are non-existent. It's a full factory reset. I don't know you, you don't know me. We have a kid together. We have 2 kids together, but we don't live together. I hate coming over here because when I'm here, all we do is fight. Richard, I don't want to do this. Please let it be. He's not accepting this. He's getting pissed off. Okay, I've ran that scene back. At this point in the show, you still think everything's cool. They're just having an argument. Laura is able to keep her cool, but you can feel her frustration because even this season, how many times have we had this conversation? How many times have we done this? He just can't let it go. And I think it's the fact that she's pregnant. I really do wonder if this conversation will be totally, totally different if there weren't a baby. Okay. So she getting tired of all this jaw jacking. She's pregnant. She's tired. She's had a long day. She had to drive an extra 6 miles out of her way. She ain't fooling with Richard no more. So she gets up in that, cool Laura face. So I'm finna go home. And he's like, you're not leaving. She goes to walk around him because, again, who? Who ain't leaving? I'm leaving. No. He blocks her and then he starts arching his eyebrow. And I'm like, oh, okay. Still not really thinking too much of it. He's just upset. I also sort of clocked his frame at this point. I guess that was probably what really did it for me because he was blocking her way. And I'm like, okay, yes, she's pregnant. She has a couple inches on him, and now she's got a little bit of baby weight. Yes, I'm not condoning pregnant women bulldozing people over. However, oh yeah, and pregnant women don't have really great balance. That's true. Something about carrying a baby throws off your equilibrium. You run into things all the time. It is very strange. But I thought she looks like if she needed to, she could take him. If she absolutely needed to. That's what I thought before. But as I'm watching him in this, it's more of a tan. It's a very, very light tan sweater. I'm like, oh, he's stronger than I thought he was physically. I wonder if the sweater was a specific choice. So while this is going on over at Karen's house, Karen's got the family and Lily Mae over, and they are doing something I've never seen done. I absolutely will incorporate this into family time, fun time, hanging out with friends time. This is so cool to me. Not all of my friends are bookish. I think my family will kind of be into it, but they're all sitting around reading either from playbooks, or from a poetry book. It feels more like a play to me. Everybody has an assigned character or two, and they're reading them in different voices, and they're having a good old time. Lily Mae is playing with Michael's toes, and this little piggy went to market. This little piggy went home. Don't call me an uncultured swine, but I had no idea that was a real poem. I thought it was just something you said to chubby little babies so you have an excuse to play with their cute little feet. But apparently it's part of a real play. Michael ain't having it. He's like, my God, can I please do anything else? Can I go? Karen's like, cool, you can go upstairs, but you bet not turn on your TV. Tell me you're wealthy without telling me you're wealthy. Kids in 1982, did you have TVs in your room? Most of the kids I knew in the 90s did not have a TV in their room until later, like right around 2000 ish. Okay, I'm lying. I definitely had a TV. I think I got a TV in like 97. Yeah, I inherited. So my sister graduated, I think, 95, and I inherited her. No, we built another like part of the house on. So my parents got this really wonderful master suite, and my brother and I got our own room. So yes, late 90s, I got a television. You telling me in 1982? But I was not everybody had one. In 1982, they had their own TV. And what was he going to watch upstairs? Seriously. Either way, he sits back down. He wants to read, but suddenly you can hear voices. They hear yelling. And he's like, well, somebody's yelling across the street. He's smart because he knows his mama is nosy. This ish is not going down in Karen's neighborhood. So Karen goes walking outside. Joe follows her to protect his sister. And right as she's coming outside, it looks like Val and Gary are coming back from somewhere. So they pull up, and I guess they see her face. They see how urgently she's running out of the house, heading over to Richard and Laura's. And so Gary jumps out too. Val jumps out, and Karen's like, they're screaming in there. We need to go in there and interrupt. Joe's like, no, mind your business, sis. Gary agrees with him. Val agrees with Karen. No, no, no. If Laura's over there, they need to go in the house. And Karen's like, yeah, and Jason's there. They don't need to be yelling in front of Jason. This is one of those situations where it's like everybody has their own rules and regulations in their house. Sometimes things get heated. Yes, you should not argue in front of children. Sometimes things get out of hand. But it must have been an unusual occurrence despite their previous relationship, despite Laura and Richard being there all this time before. This must be very unusual because her heckles, Karen's are completely up. She is thoroughly freaked out. And a little bit later on, there's more of a revelation. But the first thing I thought was like, this isn't a man, is this a man versus woman thing? Like men are like, hey, just let them work it out. Men can punch each other in the face at breakfast and be cool by lunch. That will never happen with women. It's not happening. Not that we aren't evolved, but it's like a fight is so much bigger. It means something. Well, there's something we need to heal there. But I think the reality is like, you don't know for certain. Please don't go bursting in there because you could maybe blow this out of proportion. Karen ain't trying to hear none of that. She is dressed like, what's her name? Daphne from Scooby-Doo. She's got on the burgundy colorway. Whatever. I'm going up here. She's matched. She's monochrome. Her hair is flipped. She's hauling ass up that driveway, up the sidewalk. Well, inside, Karen's instincts are right. It is getting ugly. Mind you, Jason is still playing with the train, so it's super, super loud. Loud enough to just muffle the voices. Think about that, though. They could hear the argument from Karen's house, but as she gets to the door, you can still hear it, but she hears the train as well. So I guess it's more concentrated volume there. And Laura and Richard have moved from the kitchen to the living room, so it's probably easier to hear in the kitchen. I don't know. I got to make it make sense. You know I am. She knocks on the door, and Laura says, Karen. She definitely yells out. So Karen's like, oh no, hell no. Richard grabs this woman by her mouth and covers it. Sorry, I almost covered my mouth. I just realized that. Richard grabs Laura, covers her mouth. And he says, Laura, in a very calm voice, Laura, if you keep making noise, I'm going to have to hurt you. Karen's at the door. I'm painting the picture for you. Just on the other side of that door is Richard. There is Laura with her mouth clamped. And there is Jason playing on the floor with the train. Karen says, Richard, can I come in? I'd rather you not. I thought I heard Laura. Yeah, she's here. She just went upstairs. What are you guys doing? We're arguing. Do you mind? Basically tells her to scram. Just go away. It's not happening. Go away. And she's like, Richard, I really wish you would just let me come in. Let me talk to you. Not happening, Karen. We'll talk tomorrow. Mind Karen and Richard are friends at this point. You know, they've been hanging out quite a bit ever since Sid died. So I'm not really sure what she was thinking right at first. I don't know if she knew something was up for real, for real. And maybe she's the only one who did because she's the only person who has been talking to him frequently. This is a thing I didn't really pick up on. And this is why I love this show. Because there are several couples, we get to see their lives as couples. We also get to see them individually sometimes. And because this is a regular neighborhood, the reality is, yeah, you're not going to always know what's going on with everybody all the time. There's going to be certain seasons where you're probably a little more in tune with one neighbor or one friend more than the other. But I hadn't really noticed that since Sid died, the guys don't really get together like that. I thought things were cool. Kenny and Richard are definitely cool enough. You know, they order hookers together. They were perfect. Ginger and Kenny were perfectly fine with Richard coming over. They invited him over for dinner, come and sit down. But him and Gary don't like each other. They tolerate each other. Karen is his friend. Val doesn't really seem to deal with him. And that could be Val being respectful of Gary, knowing that's not his friend like that, so she don't really interact with him like that. I don't know. Cutie Pie Jason does look kind of terrified, but also, what do? You're a little kid. You can't break up a fight. And also, it's a worse position to ever be in, to be a child in that situation, because no matter what you do, you're going to hurt one parent. And that's exactly what you don't want to do. Richard has not thought this through, but he is serious enough to be like, you are not leaving this place until we resolve this, Lord. We got to talk all night and all day, which is where the title comes from, night. That's what it's going to have to be. When he goes to lock the door, you see his frame again. Yes, he's slight. Yes, he's kind of unassuming, but look at that back. Look at his chest. He could do something. He doesn't have I have crappy posture back. He has I might lift a weight or two at one point in my life. I'm probably a little athletic under these clothes. I'm not checking out Richard. I'm just saying. He is definitely giving Stu from Scream vibes. Now, Laura has a choice to make. Richard tells Jason to go upstairs. He wants to talk to him. We're going to chatter, chatter, chit, chit. Let me explain this to you. He tells Jason, Mommy and I just need to talk. We're going to get our family back together. And the baby's like, but she don't want a family with you like that, Dad. He's like, I know, but if we talk, we can work it out. Promise me you'll stay in your room all night. The baby says yes, he'll stay in his room all night. I hope he has an ensuite, because, like, what if he has to pee? He's a little kid. He didn't bring any snacks or anything upstairs. And he also has a TV in his room. So maybe California, a little more standard. I guess on TV it's more standard anyway. Laura then can't leave. Think about that. She can't run out of the house because the baby's there. She must not be afraid that he'll really hurt her, but it is very uncomfortable. He does not seem like he's doing well when he talks to her. So she goes downstairs. She starts cleaning the dishes. Meanwhile, Karen goes to Val and Gary's house, and she starts calling. The phone is ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. Then she'll hang up. So Lily Mae's there. Val's there. You know, she's making coffee and snacks and doing whatever in the background. But Gary at this point is like, wait, I don't like that. So you sure Laura's there? She's like, yeah, Laura's there. I swear I heard her voice. Then he says she went upstairs. Gary doesn't like that. Something about that is just not sitting well with him. So he's like, okay, I'm just going to go over there because I'm a big, strong man. And if that little mofo steps to me, I'm going to go ahead and squash him like a bug. I know I can take him if it comes to that. So Gary is very smart, and he goes round and back. He goes through the backyard, and he gets over to he can see Laura through the window. The phone is incessantly ringing. It is so annoying. I'm so grateful that we can silence our phones now. She finally picks up and she tells Karen, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Her voice doesn't sound like everything's fine, but she's trying. I'm okay, girl. Don't worry about me. Well, she hangs up the phone, but Richard is upstairs. Richard had picked up the phone and said, yeah, she's fine. Don't worry about her. Everything's cool. Just let it be. Laura hangs up first, and then Karen's like, well, Richard, are you still there? He suddenly drops the phone. Now you see him in his room. He's rubbing his neck like he's got a lot of tension. He goes into the bathroom and he takes 2 pills. I'm assuming they're aspirin. He doesn't have any sort of manic episode later, or this could all be a manic episode. I don't really know. Well, by this point, Gary has made it to the sliding glass door. As soon as Laura sees, he opens it and she just starts crying in his arms. She's hugging him like, oh my God, Gary. He's gone crazy. He got trains. He blowing money like he's not buying hookers and stuff anymore. He won't let me leave, Gary. Gary, he said, I can't leave the house. He said, me and Jason can't leave. We scared. Help us. He grabbed me. Karen tried to call. So Gary's hearing this and he's getting progressively like, what the? He did what? He said, what? Who can't leave? Yo, Richard. I love this. I love this scene because I think Gary has been secretly wanting to put a North Texas ass whooping on Richard for quite a little bit. He's like, I've grown. I'm going to be a good man. So he goes around. He's like, yo, Richard, he's at the bottom of the stairs. Just come down. Let's talk to me, please. Please talk to me. Laura said you won't let her leave. She wants to go home. So Richard comes down the stairs and okay, so maybe he's not Bruce Lee, but he is more built than you would think. I guarantee you he is. He's got his hands behind his back, and as Gary tries to proceed up the stairs after he threatens to, listen, I will open a can of whoop ass on you. He starts to walk up the stairs, and Richard pulls out the blicky. Richard's got a pistola, and he's got that same exact look on his face, the same look that when Laura was in the kitchen and she wanted to leave. It's this sort of very resolved, I'm calm, I'm a little disturbed, and I mean when I say, Gary, I will pump you full of lead if you interrupt us. I'm paraphrasing, but just know Richard is looking at that door like, I wish you would. Laura, you in your prairie dress? Get over there and lock that door. So all the women folk are outside, and Gary's like, y'all not gonna believe this mother lover pulled a gun on me. A gun? Everybody's like, in California? Now, this was Dallas. Yeah, he would have pulled a shotgun on you. 1982, 100%. So by this point, Joe has come out the house and he's like, wait, what? Gary's like, yo, this fool pulled a gun on me. I was like, he got a gun. That don't even sound like him. So Karen was like, no, let me go over there. Let me talk to him. Joe says, are you nuts? Did you not hear the gun part? You're not going over there. Well, they insist on calling the police. I was like, let's call the cops. Joe agrees. They do just that. And ladies and gentlemen, night has finally befalled upon us. If my calculations are correct, in season 1, on the United We Stand or United We Fall, aka the Dirtbags on Dirt Bikes episode, I do believe the police was called to this little cul-de-sac. Refresh my memory, there was a B&E when, God bless America, these people love slapping up children and pregnant kids. Pregnant women on this show. So the dirtbags on dirt bikes beat up Sid and Karen's youngest boy. On season 2, with the B&E, they kidnapped everybody at Ginger's baby showers. We had a good pregnant woman. There was also a slap there. Laura slapped Abby because she was boning Richard. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to worry about on Knots Landing, when you get a slap across the face or a child gets hit in the head, I'm going to expect the cops to flood their cul-de-sac again. At what point does the property value drop? Laura, could you answer that? At what point? We've had the SWAT team twice in 2 seasons on this cul-de-sac in behind the 2 of y'all. If I was the rest of the neighbors, there's got to be at least 2 on the street. We might have a little meeting. I know Karen is the neighborhood watch leader, but listen, you and your friends are kind of a problem. It seems like every time the Averys show up or involved in something, there seems to be some sort of, police presence in a way that we don't really enjoy. This is a cul-de-sac, so you can imagine if it's filled with coppers. Nobody can get to their house. It's quite annoying. Anyway, it's stressful. But we get to meet a woman cop named Sanchez. She's there, and then they have a negotiator come. Throughout the rest of this episode, despite there being a police presence, despite there being a threat outside the house, it's not that Richard is not aware of it. He just doesn't care. It is without a shadow of a doubt so intense. And the worst part is he's so focused on Laura that he's not able to really think clearly about anything else. It is Laura. You were the missing piece. Why don't you want to come back? Laura, please. We just have to talk to this. I'm asking you. What do you want me to do? For 3 months, I'll be exactly the man you want me to be. I'll do whatever you need me to be. They're back at Karen's. So meanwhile at Karen's, I'm like, how the heck did Abby get there? She was there reading the poetry. So she was staying with the kids. She never actually went outside. They ran to Val's house and then everybody met back at Karen's. And now they kind of got to stick around there because the cops are there. The cops told Karen to find a place for her kids. But now I'm wondering, where are Abby's kids? I thought their daddy, is the restraining order just against Abby or is it the kids too? That doesn't seem like a good idea, is it? He can't possibly be getting visitations after he kidnapped him. And that's another thing. Kidnap. Kidnapped two whole children. No SWAT. Okay, so the negotiator gets on the phone. He's trying to call, but he's also calling someone who is a professional negotiator, despite being unceremoniously dumped for doing the work he was asked to do. I hope he pursues that lawsuit. Richard ignores the first few calls, and throughout the episode, there's just a lot of phone ringing through. So if you can block that part out and watch this, wow. He's so intense, but he's also so, this is what I'm saying. Not landing. The F. What are you doing to me? This is they understand nuance so well. Okay, so you see Richard, and you see these little glimpses of him being broken. Like, honey, please, I miss you. Can we just do this? But then you see, I am fully off my rocker because he's just sort of flipping the gun back and forth in his hands. He's sweating. He's not well. It's almost as if you think a loud noise could set him off. A loud noise could end Laura. And I think if he did something to Laura, he'd do something himself. That's just my thoughts. As I'm watching this, like, oh my God, is this necessary? There's also the thought, like, do we need all the cops? I say yes, but it's not really helping anything at this point. It's really not. Karen asked to be on the phone to talk to him, and that's not really happening. So, okay, let's just kind of wrap this up. Tense environment. It is very much giving No Country for Old Men. Javier Bardem, I've said this many times before, he is the scariest part of that movie, not because he's a killer, it's because he's so resolved. He's so trained on the job at hand. He doesn't really show any emotions one way or another. He is going to kill you because it is on his to-do list. It feels like that is on Richard's to-do list, not necessarily kill you. But Laura, you literally are not leaving this house until you say yes. I don't care if 100 people are outside waiting to blow me away. You gonna say yes to this. So Laura flips, she's like, okay, let me play along with this. He offers her some wine. He offers the pregnant lady yet another glass of wine to chase the champagne. She's like, cool, yeah. Oh, is this that wine we got at that one place? She starts to initiate the conversation. And you see him start to melt a little. We start to see less No Country for Old Men and more Richard. I think that movie was also set in 1982 or 1980. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. This is working. So on the other side of all this, you have Karen advocating with every fiber of her being for Richard. She is begging the cops to let her call. They're like, no, ma'am, we have this professional. She's like, the professional's not his friend. He's too smart for that. He's not going to believe you anyway. Well, in all the commotion, someone on the police force has decided to pull up the blueprints for the house. They decide that, only so many rooms could be the kids' room. And they decide they're going to use an aluminum ladder, which is the most terrifying part of this whole episode, honestly. God, I hate those things. And they climb up and they extract Jason. He is very brave. He climbs down the daggone aluminum ladder with a person he doesn't know. And they take him over to Val's, which is the very best place for him. She's going to make him some hot chocolate. She's going to do X, Y, and Z. But she sort of gets on to Gary for not being more supportive of Richard. She's like, remember when you were acting a teetotal fool? You were dribbling drunk for 3 weeks? All up and down Knots Landing coast. You know how embarrassed I was? Do you remember that? Do you remember that Richard was a person who came to get you? And Gary's like, don't come. I mean, did he save me? No. Did he show up and threaten to sue me? Yes. Val's whole thing is like, you went over there for Laura. You didn't even go over there for him. They don't like each other. And Gary says as much, Richard don't even like me like that. She's like, but when you was a drunk skunk, all up and down Knots Landing Avenue, drinking backwash booze, fist fighting people over $2 bottles of wine, who helped you? Did he help you or did he come help me? He went to help you. And he's like, I mean, damn, Billy, you want me to get shot? What you want me to do? I'm sorry. This is a little bit of revisionist history. I understand the point being made here. The point being made is that it's not just Laura's life in danger, which to me, I'm sorry, she's a priority, her and Jason. Jason's out of the house. Laura is pregnant with a man who was obsessed with her with a gun. We should be concerned, even if it's out of character for him. I think that's why you should be concerned. This is not the person you know. This is not the guy you love. And Kiki with this is somebody who is on the edge. Once he hears a commotion, Richard that is, he runs upstairs and he figures out that Jason is no longer in his room and he cracks. Shout out to Laura for keeping it cool. Also, her real name, her real government name, Constance McCashin. What? That needs to be a super pimp or a super villain name somewhere. Constant McCashin. I get Constant McCashin. I love it. Anyway, she is being Laura. She's as cool as she could be. Phone's ringing off the hook. She's like, let me just answer it, Richard. Richard, I just don't think this is going to work out. Finally, he picks up the phone. Richard's like, okay, you have my kid. I really don't have anything else to lose. So just let me go ahead and get this done. You might as well go home. I'm not going over there. Well, Karen pulls a Richard. She goes and she picks up the phone and she's talking to him. SWAT guy tries to go in the kitchen and bust her up, but Joe steps in because he's a good brother. And he's like, listen, you're going to kill him 20 minutes from now. Why are you going to do it right now? We just let her talk to him. What's the worst? If we're going to blow him away anyway, let her talk to him. Let her get his mind right. The negotiator's like, he must sort of agree with this. Plus, he'd probably like to get home to his bed. So he goes into the kitchen. He's like, Karen, just make sure you don't lie to him. Richard seems to think this has been blown out of proportion. I can't say I agree. I'm sorry. You're doing something weird and irrational. It would be very, very irresponsible of every party involved to just turn the other cheek when you are doing this. If you are content to let somebody keep one of your friends and their children hostage, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. But he and Karen share this really intimate moment where she talks about how much she cares about him. But Richard, this just ain't it. So the SWAT team already has orders to basically kind of bust up in there. They have like 5 minutes to do it. While Richard is distracted, this is the first time Laura's had some real breathing room since he went upstairs to talk to Jason. Richard is being very honest. He's being very vulnerable. Like, none of the cops can help me. The only person who can help me right now is Laura. And Karen's like, no, baby, you got to help you first. You got to get this mental state under control, and then you can figure out what's next. And she compares the breakup of their marriage to a death. It kind of throws him off. He's like, what are you saying? Like, why are you talking about death? I don't know, maybe because you're wielding a gun around, you're wielding a pistol around in front of everybody. But she's basically telling him, boy, it's over. You need to allow yourself to mourn this marriage. This is too much. And it's you, baby, it's you. You were the only person brandishing a weapon. You were the only person not allowing people you love to move forward and grow and do whatever. And I swear to you, his beard grows tenfold over this night in this scene. But also, baby boy is acting. It's I love it that he's not really overdoing it. Like, you still see pieces of Richard, but then you see not well Richard. You see two versions of him kind of battling each other. And then he stands up, and that look, that same look, the look that he started the show with, like, you're going to stay here. The look he gave Gary when he was brandishing the weapon at the top of the stairs is the same look he gives Laura. He arches that eyebrow, starts lurching towards her. She had her hands behind her back. I thought she picked up a vase or something. It was going to come across his head, but she doesn't even have to because he tells her she can leave. And she's like, are you sure? Yeah, you can leave. She was very smart. She moonwalks out of there. Don't you dare turn your back. She moonwalks out of there. She feels for the door. She opens it. And I was terrified. I know this is TV. I don't know in real life how this would go. But I thought that the SWAT team might have started shooting at her. But maybe they're trained. They understand that there's a slight possibility that the hostage could be released. Luckily, she was. Richard comes out of the house after this. And this is where the show is a little bit unrealistic. Based on, this is me growing up and living in the times we live in now. I don't think he would have got very far with the pistol outside. So he comes out slowly. Nobody rushes him. He's still brandishing the weapon. Well, he's holding the weapon. He starts to sort of cock it and raise it up. He gets to raise it all the way up to his head. Nobody shoots at him, not one person. That feels this is why this is a soap opera. Ain't no way. Because he's pointing it out first before he points it up. Ooh. This scene is hard to watch. I was literally holding my breath this entire episode. I was, oh my God. Ever since What, not even in the kitchen where he goes to grab Laura did I think, okay, I still kind of had the thought that this is going to be okay. He's just tripping. They're going to cuss each other out and then she'll leave. When he put his hand over her face as she tried to leave, I was like, oh my God, held my breath the entire time. Richard gets the gun all the way up to his head and he pulls the trigger. He looks like he's about to burst out crying, but he just keeps clicking it like 1, 2, 3. You realize it was never loaded. Mm, 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 mm. By episode's end, which this is, Karen's tasked with boxing up the train set. Joe has to load it all in the back of Laura's car, and Richard is in the psych ward for a little bit. No shame in getting a little bit of help, but she talks about keeping the water on and a little bit of electricity, but the house appears to be cleared out. It would seem that Laura and Richard are leaving. I don't know if Richard's going to come back. Are they gone? It just hit me. This literally hit me in the moment. I put it back on so I could really watch this. So this show is about the city or this cul-de-sac. This is the first time I ever considered. I know people leave the show, but is he gone now? Don't tell me, but tell me. Don't tell me. I hope not. Oh man. And she's a real okay. I mean, well, hell, I feel like they set all that up. She's a real estate agent. He's gone. It's a big, he did say the house was too big at one point. I forget who, I guess he was talking to Karen. He said the house was just so big and it's so empty and it echoes off of everything. Dang, I don't know. Laura kind of leaves it open. It led me to believe that he may not move back into the house. Kenny and Ginger come and baby, two names is just, nobody cared about us, I'm telling you. Baby Two Names is holding on for dear life as Ginger lets her dangle like a rag doll. I literally thought it was a doll, like a prop doll, when they walked up. But they were like, hey, we were at the grocery store and they said something about some cops in the neighborhood. And Karen's like, let's go to your house and I'll tell you all about it. Okay, I love this last scene because they're outside. Anytime they're outside, I just love to orient myself to the neighborhood layout. And Abby does have a driveway. I've always admired her steps. I really, really like the front of Abby's house. I didn't think she had a driveway, but she does. Fantastic episode. What the actual? I don't know what I thought it was going to be about. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. He's still brandished a weapon. It's hard to get. Listen, I live in a different time. I live in a very different time where we take gun threats a whole lot differently. This is not something you would casually take. I don't know if people even go to, they put you in a psych ward. Maybe the fact that there were no bullets gives him an opportunity to, okay, there was never any real threat to violence. Maybe that's the thing. But wow, I don't know. Very good episode. Richard. I hope he's okay. And I hope he's still on the show. I hope they don't just move away. I suppose Laura would show up from time to time. Maybe she'll buy the house. I don't know. I can't believe it. We got to talk about this property value, though. I mean, at what point is there a neighborhood no longer safe? I would say at the SWAT. Is there more than a few times a year? It's concerning. We might need to up the membership of the neighborhood watch. Might be time to add a couple extra locks to the doors. I don't really know. All right, guys, that's it. That's all for this episode. Join me next time as I jump back into some fun-filled soap opera debauchery. In the meantime, in between time, don't underestimate a slight man who works in corporate America. He could be lifting weights, pumping iron, doing God knows what behind the scenes, filling out the murder me sweater like Stu from Scream. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business unless you think your friend is being held hostage, and keep all of your drama on TV.